So, Mark, did you see that traveler's viral hack for ensuring that you don't get the middle seat on a low-cost carrier? He didn't want to buy the seat, and he knows they randomly assign seats, oftentimes putting you in the middle so that you'll pay to upgrade. So he goes in, does a dummy booking, selects all the middle seats, and then checks in for his flight. Is this wrong? I mean, this is pretty bad.
I mean, it's next level. I think it's kind of genius. I guess they have to have enough tickets for sale that you could do this. Still, if it's a sold out flight, then it's going to rely on other people to check in. Our tip has always been, if you're flying by yourself, check in as late as possible because you'll likely get a better seat up towards the front or something like that. They just fill the expensive seats last. So don't check in too early. If you're with family, check in early and then you'll probably get seated together. But I don't know. I think it's kind of genius. They'll probably kill it now or whatever, but airlines always hold those seats for like 10 minutes after booking. I know we get ticked when we have to back out and then go back and it's already selected and we can't pick those seats.
But booking airline tickets can be tedious, and trying to hold 15 or 20 tickets, putting in the name for each passenger just to hold it, it's an effort. I mean, it's not a 2-minute hack.
Yeah, I bet you the $8 that he saved probably would have just been a better use of his time.
So some good news coming out of New York City. The world famous Waldorf Astoria closed 8 years ago for these massive renovations. I think it was only supposed to be closed for a couple of years, and then there was some financial trouble. Anyway, it's about to come back online in the spring, and as of December 10th, you can book it. It's going to be part of the Hilton Honors Program. And this property was always very special, old school, but they did a complete gutting and renovation, and they expanded the room size. I think almost every room is 570 square feet or bigger. So you're talking about huge rooms within that, and 375 rooms in total, including 78 suites.
Yeah, it looks great. I mean, it looks exactly what you envision with Waldorf. And that's kind of my takeaway with the brand is it's kind of all over the place. And some of them are so beat up and old and crappy. And it just doesn't feel that luxury. Like you hear the Waldorf name growing up and you saw it in movies and all that stuff. And you expect like next level, just over the top gaudiness almost. And you go into some of these and they just look beat up. And that was New York before all these improvements were made. It just was like crappy, beat up, looked disgusting. And then they came in and all these renderings and everything we've seen, it looks really great. And we're recording this before the 10th, so we don't know exactly what the cost is going to be. I'm guessing it's going to be, 110,000 points a night in that realm. So great use for a free night cert. I know we had both sworn off New York for a few years, but is this going to bring you back?
I think so. I mean, I do want to stay at this property. I've always wanted to stay at this property. And then when it closed, our friend PDX Deals guy used to stay there all the time when it was, and he went and walked through it before it closed. And it just felt like a place that as a traveler, you should stay at some point in your life. But now this new version is even more exciting. It still has the classic building and the history, but you're going to get a modern experience. And I don't know, like you say, the Waldorf, the reputation of that property, the name that we've heard our whole lives. Yeah, I'm all for it. I want it. Hilton certs. I need more to go stay there.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about on the main podcast, like how we're lining up our Surpass cards in this household to get those certs every year, 4 of them, plus all the bonus points you get from doing the spend, and that's to take advantage of places like this. And I've almost like leaned a little bit more towards Hilton as of late. Like I still stay more in Hyatt, but I'm finding that I'm loving more and more Hilton properties. They're doing a really good job when they bring these things online. We talked about the Conrad in Orlando and how great that property is. This one looks also fantastic. So I'm excited to check this one out. And I think that they're doing a really good job with their high-end properties as they bring them in and as they refurbish them. It's looking a lot better than it had in a long time.
I totally agree. I did that tour of all the different properties in Nashville last year with Hilton and got to see not only their high-end and their design aesthetic, but even in their boutique brands, their mid-tier boutique brands. I mean, very unique, and I do like their design aesthetic pretty much top to bottom with what they're doing. Even like a brand like True, I really like. So I've been a fan of Hilton over the years. Hyatt points a little easier for me, so I do more Hyatt stays. I always said that Hilton was my second program. It stays there. Diamond status easy enough to get. The benefits I get out of that. And I think this week, we don't have it on the rundown, but they sent out Delta status, right, to some of their best customers. Obviously not people like me who are not staying a ton of nights, but yeah, so even more perks for people who love Hilton.
Yeah, I think they do a good job, and then they are probably one of the best, if not the best, return on cash spent on property. And so that's a great thing if you're a road warrior. That should be something to consider. Plus, they're everywhere where you run into an issue with Hyatt in that respect. And then I've also noticed it's so much easier to bill things back to your room at the restaurants, and you get points credited for that at Hyatt. So often they say, "Oh, we don't own that restaurant," or alcohol doesn't earn points. All this stuff, and it's like, well, this is annoying. You don't know, should I just use my card at there and get the restaurant dining, or like, where are we going here? Like, what's the purpose of this? Where Hilton's just like, hey, if you can bill back to the room, we're going to give you bonus points on that. They just seem more giving in that respect.
Best certs in the business too. I mean, those
Yeah,
certs are so great. I mean, they got better in 2020 and thankfully they stayed. So let's hope they continue to stay where you can use them any day.
just wish we could book them online, man. Can
Yeah,
we do
that's
that already?
well, what you can book is Virgin Voyages, and they've had these specials over the last couple years where they release availability for Virgin Voyages via Virgin Red, but it hasn't been like a consistent benefit. The pricing hasn't been consistent, and every time the deals come back, it's been more expensive. Well, it's back again, and the prices are even higher, significantly higher, I would say, than they were before. Although, if you kind of look at the value you're getting, there's probably still some value there, especially when you factor in that you can get a 40% transfer bonus to Virgin. But yeah, you're looking anywhere from 140,000 points for a 4-night cruise from Miami up to 409,000 for a San Juan cruise of 11 nights. I don't see any of the European itineraries on there.
Yeah, European was around last time. They didn't bring it back this time. And that's what's annoying, is you never know when they're going to release it, what routes it's going to be. You can't plan ahead for this. And then we're seeing that it's becoming closer and closer to, like, unless there is a big transfer bonus, probably not worth booking with points anymore. Like, when it first came out, what was it? 80,000 points for a 2-person cruise booking through the Caribbean and stuff. That was insane value. So I wish they would just kind of meet in the middle somewhere. Give us like 1.5 cents per point and just have everything bookable with it. I don't know. This just seems like it's annoying, and it's always like, hey, you have to travel in the next 2 to 3 months. Okay, some people can do that. A lot of people can't.
Yeah, they're trying to fill up their ships at the last minute and they're using this as that way, but the deal is getting less and less good for these last minute sort of things. When it's half the points, then it makes more sense to kind of move things around and make this work for yourself. But the 40% transfer bonus, and I think this will be good. I mean, Virgin Voyages, for people who haven't gone, 18 and over, very unique ships, feels more like a boutique hotel, different entertainment than you see on other cruise lines, really good food, internet's included, tips are included, and all your port fees and taxes are included with this cert that you get. So you really are getting an all-inclusive experience for your points with this, which is super nice compared to other cruise lines.
Yeah, I think everybody says Virgin is their favorite cruise line that's been on it, or at least the top two. So it's adding value there. But with cruises, there's always like onboard credit and other things you can do, and you can get deals through travel agents and all that. So it's hard to, like, if you just like search it, yes, you can say, all right, it would cost this much, but you're not taking advantage of all the other things that they offer up at times, which we see with especially last minute cruises. That's why I wish they'd just let you book it further out and make the deal somewhat okay, and just allow people to do it that way. But this is the way they're going to do it. But then the booking process is so terrible.
When you decide to do this redemption, it takes a few days for you to get the cert. It's basically a promo code that you then can use on the website or when you call in to book the cruise, but it takes up to 3 days for you to get this. And I know anytime it takes time, people in the hobby get a little nervous. I know that you have an article on top talking about some of the strategies that you can use to kind of, call, make sure that there's space, stuff like that. So you're not sweating it those 3 days that it's going to sell out.
Yeah, you definitely want to, call and see. And Ben had written the article, and he called and they're like, oh, we have 100 rooms available for that sailing. So he felt more comfortable then, because you do have to wait a couple days, and everybody else is seeing that there are points available now. So you don't know how quickly that's going to book up and stuff. If there was 10 rooms available, I don't know that I'd risk it, unless you already have the miles in your Virgin Atlantic account, because you're moving them from a transferable currency over there. If not, and then if the booking falls through, yeah, you could probably get your miles back, but you can't move them all the way back to where they were before. So you're stuck with them in Virgin. Who knows when the next cruise will come available? Using it for Virgin flights or partner flights has become more and more difficult. Taxes and fees are high on their own metal. So it's just problematic in that respect. I don't know why it can't be instantaneous. It seems kind of stupid, but this is the setup they have.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to strand points in Virgin. And even if it fell through and you didn't do the cruise, the next time the cruise comes back, the deal comes back, it's probably going to be more based on our experience. So yeah, it's a weird process. Maybe they'll get that figured out. Still a new cruise line. Once you do get the code, the booking, I have booked a cruise with a code before. It's super simple on their website. It's just putting a promo code in. So that part they have figured out. It's just getting the code to you that takes
Yeah.
a little bit of work.
Shouldn't be a manual process. Like, it should just be like you punch in, hit yes, you get the code automatically emailed to you. It should be pretty easy.
So now let's move on to some credit card news, some huge credit card news. We talked how AA was kind of figuring out their credit card co-branded partnership. Right now they have Barclays, which is kind of a legacy holdover of the US Airways days, and then Citi, which was from American Airlines going way back, their credit card holder. Well, they are moving to go Citi exclusive. Citi is going to take over the Barclays cards at some point, although we don't know when that's going to happen. It starts in 2026, so we have about a year before this happens. And the big question coming out of this was whether we're going to finally get ThankYou point transfers to AA once this is all said and done.
Yeah, that will be the interesting part. I don't think it's a big deal. Barclays took their business card off the market a while back, so you don't even have that option. We're just talking about a personal card here. I know people are probably going to apply for it just because it's going away, and it's an easy one. After one purchase, you get the bonus miles, whatever that is at the time of the application. But I wouldn't jump out of your 524 line or anything like that for this. If you're over 524, by all means have at it, but don't like mess up your plan for 60,000 AA miles. There's still the Citi cards. And then if it becomes a ThankYou transfer partner, you have all those cards and everything that comes with that. And I think that will be the easier way to earn AA miles versus directly. So it'll be interesting to see. They put a little bit in there in the press release that said like, hey, and more things are to come with ThankYou points, but they never outright came and said, we're joining ThankYou points. Some bloggers ran with that and said it's happening. I think it's, a little presumptive. Likely, probably going to happen, but I wouldn't say it's set in stone.
Yeah, so let's be honest here. They said the agreement creates an innovative alignment between the Citi ThankYou and AAdvantage card programs. That's their words. That's what they said. Certainly didn't say there's going to be transfer partners, but maybe they're hinting at it. As someone with a huge ThankYou points balance, please make this happen.
Yeah, we got it for a couple of months several years ago, and people loved it. But we saw AA pull out a Bilt, and I don't know if that was because they wanted to charge more for their miles, or if they knew this was coming. Maybe this was, hey, we're going to be going with Citi soon, so we can't be with you too, or whatever that was part of the deal. That could be a part of this. Or, Citi's been struggling. We know word on the street is that they've had their issues money-wise, that they're a bit underwater on things. So do they want to take on a new transfer partner that's going to cost them significantly more than their other transfer partners? Because this would be by far the most popular one, and they probably pay more for American miles than they would for some of the other ones. So that will add cost to them. What is the benefit that they get from it? Worth more than that cost? These are all things that need to be hammered out over the next year or so. So that's why I say this could fall through at any point as far as them being a ThankYou transfer partner.
Yeah, Citi does need to do this. They have fallen way behind the other banks as far as popularity. I talked to a lot of people, and very few people are excited about ThankYou or really doing anything with that program. Also, Chase has United, American Express has Delta, so it also makes sense from that perspective that they would have it. And hopefully, as part of this negotiation, they figured out a way to make it economically viable for them to do it, since they were renegotiated whatever they're paying for the points in the entire deal. So hopefully they were able to do that. It would be an amazing thing for Citi, and I think it would put ThankYou points back on the map.
Do you think that would bump it above membership rewards for you?
Probably just because I've used AA miles so much over the years, but I've been cashing out a lot of membership rewards just because I've had so many and they've been so easy to earn. Whereas ThankYou, I stopped earning them. I really stopped focusing on that because I had so many and I wasn't using them very often, and just realized I would rather earn in other programs. So this would give me an incentive to go back, earn a lot of ThankYou points. And I certainly think it would put it up there with membership rewards, maybe on the same level where it hasn't quite been there for a while.
Yeah, and Citi has a really good, 3-card lineup that you can get with the double cash, no fee, the Citi Strata Premier, which earns 3 times in, gas, grocery, restaurants. And then they have their dividend card, which is the 5% back card, but kind of unique that you get it on $500 every month, whatever you automatically spend. It's not like we're going to pick this and this month it's car repair, which you don't own a car, so you can't use it. You get to kind of pick what you want every month. So I think it's the best of the 5 times earning in that respect. So you pair those three together, you can rack up a lot of Citi points pretty quickly, all for $100 in annual fee. Problem is, what do you do with those points once you get them? You used to be able to at least go through the portal at 1.25 cents, which was kind of worthwhile for some. But now when you're stuck with the transfer partner, it's like, I want it because of Choice Hotels, the 2-to-1 transfer ratio that has some unique things, but that only goes so far. The rest of the stuff is kind of just, everybody has it. So it's less exciting.
Yeah, I tend to use them for the ones that everybody has. So if it's a common
Save
partner
it.
and I have
Yeah.
ThankYou, I can cash in the ThankYou points for that. I did that for Life Miles to go to Japan over the summer and stuff like that. Just go to Citi whenever I can burn them. That's great. So hoping this happens. We do need to talk about some transfer bonuses. There's quite a few transfer bonuses going on through the end of the year. And I talked about the Virgin one, which is 40% from American Express membership rewards, but there's several others, some that even go into January. You have Amex to Marriott, 35%. You have Amex to JetBlue, 25%. That also ends at the end of the year. And then 3 that end in January from Chase, 70% to IHG, 20% to Flying Blue, Air France KLM, and 20% to Aeroplan. Those all ending January 15th. So some good programs and some definitely nice bonuses there.
Yeah, I love that the Virgin from Chase, what was it, 30% a month ago or whatever, ended, and then all of a sudden rolls out Amex with 40%, which is pretty huge. I know we've seen bigger from Bilt on their one-day transfer if you had status, but for how easy Amex membership rewards are to earn, this is probably the best we've seen in terms of that, like ease to get the points over and the amount that it is at 40%. KLM, Flying Blue, I know people have been waiting for like an Amex one. We do have the Chase, which is a useful program for sure. Hotel points are always a little bit less exciting for me, although if they bring back a Hilton one, that's a decent amount where you're getting like 2.5 points or more per one membership reward with all we talked about on the hotels and stuff. I might be tempted by that now.
Yeah, I mean, these are always something to look forward to. I always say to use caution, don't transfer points to a program that you really don't have a solid use for, even if there is a bonus, because you can strand them. I used to transfer points to Avios all the time at 50%. And over time, I stopped using them more. So now I have a bunch of Avios just sitting there. So even in programs you're using a lot, it can change. So just be aware of that. Don't over transfer, but take advantage of these. And with these certain brands that we see these transfer bonuses over and over, never transfer at 1-to-1.
Yeah, definitely try to work your way around that. And I was the same with Virgin when it was really useful for Delta flights, being a Delta hub captive. But these programs can devalue overnight. Virgin's done it several times where they just devalue no notice, and you maybe made a transfer planning to do this, and all of a sudden now it's either not bookable or it's quite a bit more expensive. So I usually only transfer now when I know I'm making a booking right then, right there. So it is what it is otherwise.
So we talked earlier about Hilton and some of their tech and everything, and they have a really good app. Well, Hyatt's been working to kind of catch up with some of the other hotel companies. Last year, they did a big push to bring some of their stuff online, but there was still stuff like suite upgrade awards that weren't available online, club access awards you couldn't use online.
Which are useless.
Yeah, well, but you can use them online now. That's the big headline, Mark. But the Suite Upgrade Awards, that's a huge one. You can now apply those online. It's super simple. The awards show up in your account. They have made huge progress in the technology realm over the last year and a half.
What would be useful if they changed the Club Access Awards to Free Breakfast Awards, and then people would love them and they'd be great, because there's so few hotels that have clubs anymore, and more are closing them every day. So what is the point of that perk? Like, how many do you go to? I can't remember the last time I spent time in a lounge at a Hyatt. It just isn't a thing anymore. So it's sad to see go. Those are pretty much worthless, but it's cool to see the Suite Upgrade Awards go online. And then I know we talked on a previous show of how a Suite Upgrade Award opens up more award availability. If it's showing like no standard room available, but there was a suite available on points, you could use the Suite Upgrade Award to book it for the base standard room price. The cool thing with these being online is people are seeing that happen online. You used to have to find the right agent that could figure out how to do this, and now you can do it yourself online. If there's no standard rooms available, but there is a suite, when you use this award, you can still book it at the standard room rate, which is pretty cool. I don't know why I said room rate really weird, but I did.
It's amazing, actually, that it works that way and opens up that, and that they programmed it to work that way. So yeah, kudos to Hyatt for the way that they've sort of brought everything online. They were way behind.
Points transfers.
Yes.
Bring it to me.
And now for some cool the Chicago Christmas bar pop-ups. This is a whole scene. Now, we went more in depth on this week's MTM Travel podcast. So if you want to hear more about this and all of Mark's experiences in Chicago for Christmas, make sure to listen to that. But their bar scene sounds incredible with the Christmas overlays.
Yeah, they really go all out for this. It's, New York, we said on the last show, is known for Christmas for all the displays and everything. Chicago is the Christmas bar hopping scene. Just in Wrigleyville alone, I saw like 10 of these type of bars. There was quite a few around our hotel and stuff too. So they're all over the city. Definitely check it out if you love Christmas. Dress up, wear an ugly Christmas sweater, bring your hat, all that stuff, your Santa hat, and just enjoy it and get a reservation. Otherwise, you're going to wait like an hour in line. Get reservations, stagger them so you can go to multiple of these. It'll be a really fun day.
And you did the Christmas market there too. You talked all about that on the show, so tune into that. But yeah, I mean, I love bars that have these Christmas overlays. I love getting in the spirit. And it sounds like this is like times 100 over what a normal bar, putting up a tree, putting up a few different decorations. This is a completely different experience than if you went during the normal time of year.
Yeah, it's insane. Like the most Christmassy person you ever met would never go to this level. It's that crazy.
So let us know what you guys think about anything we talked about today. Citi AA, are you excited for ThankYou point transfers if they do come in 2026? The Waldorf Astoria, are you excited for that to open? You going to stay there? Leave a comment. We do 2 shows a week. We do MTM Travel, our podcast on Mondays, and this news show on Wednesdays. We'd love if you subscribe, hit a thumbs up, leave a comment, support us that way. You can listen to these shows as podcasts as well. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Talk to you next time.
Have a good weekend, everybody.